Hey, and welcome to The Explainer. If you're someone who manages infrastructure, you totally know the feeling, right? Your code, it starts out all clean and beautiful, but over time, it just grows into this complex beast. Well, today, we're going to talk about taming that beast and finally bringing some control to the chaos. Let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? You build this perfect piece of infrastructure for one project. Then another project comes along and needs something kind of similar. So what do? You copy and you paste. And then you do it again for the staging environment and then again for production. Before you even know it, you're just drowning in a sea of duplicated code. This isn't just about being messy. It's a real recipe for disaster, for inconsistencies, for errors that are a total pain to fix. But what if there was a way to build with precision and elegance? Because your infrastructure and, let's be honest, your own sanity really does deserve a much better approach. So what's the big solution here? Well, it's a core concept in Terraform that really acts as the fundamental building block for clean, scalable infrastructure. So let's meet the hero of today's story, Terraform modules. Okay, so what is a module, really? At its heart, it's just a container. Seriously, it's just a folder with your standard Terraform configuration files inside. The real magic, though, is its purpose. It groups a set of related resources together so you can manage them, and more importantly, reuse them as one single unit.
The absolute best way to think about this is with an analogy. You wouldn't try to bake your own bricks from scratch every single time you wanted to build a house, right? No way. You'd use standard reliable ones. Well, Terraform modules are exactly that. They are the Legos for your cloud infrastructure.
All right, so they're reusable building blocks. We get that. But why is this such a game changer? Let's actually break down the core benefits you get when you start thinking this way, when you start thinking modularly. And what's so cool is that these benefits directly attack all those problems we talked about at the beginning. Remember that copy-paste nightmare? Gone. That's reusability. Feeling totally overwhelmed by a single massive configuration file? Organization lets you break it into small, logical pieces. Worried that your staging environment doesn't quite match production? Consistency makes sure every single deployment is standardized. And maybe best of all, collaboration becomes a breeze when your whole team can share, maintain, and improve these building blocks together. So we're all pretty sold on the why at this point. Now let's get into the how. Let's pop the hood on one of these things. What's actually inside one of these powerful building blocks?
It's actually way simpler than you might think. Main.tf, that's the workhorse. It's where you define the actual resources, your virtual machines, your databases, your networks. Then you have variables.tf. Think of this like the control panel. It defines all the customizable inputs your module will accept. And finally, outputs.tf. Declares what information the module is going to give back to you when it's done, like a server's IP address or a storage bucket's name. It really helps to think of the whole thing as a little machine. First, you feed it your specific instructions through the inputs. Then, the machine gets to work. It uses those instructions in the build phase to actually create your infrastructure. And finally, it hands you back a receipt, all the crucial details about what it just built as the results. See? It's a really clean, predictable flow. Okay, theory is great and all, but let's see what this looks like in the real world, in practice, because this is where the true power of using modules becomes absolutely crystal clear. Over on the left, you've got the old way, that monolithic file of despair. It's repetitive, it's fragile, and it is a total nightmare to update. Now look at the right. That's the module way. It's clean, it's simple, it's declarative. You're not defining every single nut and bolt anymore. You're just saying, hey, I want one of those. And you let Terraform handle all the messy details for you. And this right here is what it looks like to use it. All that complexity of creating a virtual private cloud, the subnets, the route tables, the internet gateways, it's all hidden away inside the module. To actually use it, all you need is this tiny module block. You just point to its source code, give it a couple of inputs like the network address and a name, and that's it. This is the magic. 5 clean lines of code are deploying what could have easily been 100. So
Are you feeling inspired? Are you ready to leave all that chaos behind for good? Let's talk about the single best place to start your own modular journey. And here's the best part. You don't even have to build your first module from scratch. The public Terraform registry is this massive library, a treasure trove full of high-quality, community-vetted modules for pretty much anything you can imagine. We're talking everything from a simple S3 bucket to a super complex Kubernetes cluster. It is the perfect place to see best practices in action and just get started right away.
So now you have the building blocks. You have the blueprint for creating clean, scalable, and truly maintainable infrastructure. So really, the only question left is the most exciting one. What are you going to build first? Thanks for joining this explainer, and happy building.